The Virtual Boys have been playing Nintendo since they were little. These many years of experience have made them experts in the field, or at least they think so. Join them this week as they talk about
a spoiler-free discussion on Super Mario Odyssey.
You're listening to the Virtual Boys Podcast, a Nintendo podcast about Nintendo things by Nintensity. This podcast is done by four friends that talk about anything and everything Nintendo. Check out the website at nintensity.com and be sure to follow us on social media. Be sure to subscribe and share the show with your friends. Oh, of course, enjoy the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Virtual Boys Podcast, a Nintendo podcast about Nintendo things. This is episode 75. I'm your host, David. I made the switch, accompanied with James.
Not your style. How about this?
And Skylar.
You're a bit flat, and 8-bit at that.
I'm not flat. Well,
you're 8-bit,
I become flat. Yeah. Well, we just want to real quick excuse Jordan. He's been busy. He was called into work tonight, so he wasn't able to join us, which is a shame because we wanted to talk about Mario Odyssey with him. But we'll talk about Mario Odyssey next week as well, because today's episode is our first impressions. Well, maybe not first impressions since we've all beaten the game. Our spoiler-free impressions about Super Mario Odyssey, which came out a week ago. As of this recording. We had a lot of fun with the game, and we'll be sure to talk about that in just a second. But before we start, we just want to remind you to check out our Patreon page, because these episodes are going up early as a reward for those who support us. Check it out at patreon.com/Nintensity. Of course, if you want to talk about this episode, check out our Discord community at nintendo.city/Discord. Let's jump right in!
I prefer to do a backflip. So,
all right.
Are we giving a review score for this without Jordan, or are we going to wait next time to do that?
I think that you and I, no, not yet. Not until next week.
Oh, okay.
Since Skylar's given his. Unless you wanted to give your review score, because I don't mind.
Well, I mean, yeah. Because like in our Breath of the Wild spoiler-free cast, we gave our review scores. So I think that'd be a good idea.
All right, then let's give our scores. Okay, now you know, listener, we'll give our scores at the end of this discussion. So anyway, let's talk what Super Mario Odyssey is. It is the newest Super Mario game to come out on Nintendo Switch. It's the first 3D Mario like this in 7 years, if you're counting the Galaxy games, and 10 years or more since, the first sandbox-style 3D Mario game. It's a fantastic game. Just so you know what's going on, if you haven't been watching the trailers or anything, the game is basically Mario has to save Peach from Bowser, as he always does, or almost always does, by collecting these moons so that he can chase down Bowser and save Peach from a wedding that she doesn't want to participate in. Yeah, am I missing any details that are important that aren't spoilery?
All you gotta know is Bowser goes through a lot of effort to make this the best wedding ever.
I mean,
seriously.
Yeah, I mean, if it would have been a marriage with consent, I think Peach would be one happy woman. That's all I'm gonna say.
I mean, I'm surprised she didn't take Bowser after he showed up in his freaking dang awesome tuxedo.
Oh man, he looks so
so good, so good.
I mean, he's sitting right here on my desk. That good old.
I wish I could look as good as he did, man.
That hair, though.
and I think like the whole story in itself, while it's got David mentioned that it may be like typical, but in the basis, but everything around it is very, very unique, and how you progress as Bowser tries to make his perfect wedding, it's just kind of funny and charming. I mean, this isn't the first time that Bowser's tried to marry Peach. You can look to Super Paper Mario for one example,
yeah.
But this one, I don't know. This one's something. There's just something different about it, and the cast of characters around Bowser is good as well. So I don't know. For me,
Right.
it was still a fairly enjoyable story.
Yeah, and I mean, in this story, as compared to Super Paper Mario, since you brought that up, Bowser is still the villain of this story. It's not like Super Paper Mario where they're trying to get married just at the beginning, and then another villain comes and Bowser essentially joins your party and becomes like a comedic character. Bowser is the villain of this story, so it does give that different vibe, and it makes it like a little bit more pressing in my mind that you need to save Peach.
Yeah.
And
That's
yeah,
true. Like, there is
I
more
enjoy
of it is more of like a urgency. It's like, you better quit before they tie the knot.
yeah.
Before Bowser Jr. really becomes
Before
Peach's
Peach
mama.
really becomes Bowser Jr.'s mama. Mama Peach.
Mama,
Mama!
Oh
Mama.
my gosh. Yeah. Oh, brilliant story though.
You talking about Sunshine? Oh yeah, brilliant story. Brilliant story.
Voice acting, best thing.
Oh, yes.
But Odyssey's story was phenomenal. So many things caught me by surprise. Definitely worth finishing the game to see that ending.
Oh, yeah.
Holy crap. Yeah, we'll get to that later though. We'll get to that next week.
Next week.
So
It'll be fun. I do want to say that I did really enjoy the story. It's one of my favorite stories in a Mario game. That's not one of the story-based Mario games like Paper Mario, Super Mario RPG, etc.
yeah.
I think that it's very fun, very unique, and I mean, like James said, the supporting cast is just fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just a good time all around.
It helps with that every character is super expressive.
Oh yeah,
Every character
absolutely.
is very well animated. Extremely well animated.
So true, and it progress and everything progresses very well. Like you're going to each place, and there's a purpose and a reason. And I guess it has to do with the wedding as well. But it's just, I don't know. It's just a little different than it's okay. Now go here. Oh, you just opened this one up. Better go here now. I mean, sure, yeah, you want to go, but in this case, it's like, come on, like you got to get to the next thing for this thing to happen, without revealing anything. But yeah,
and there are some twists thrown at you, like some things that you aren't expecting.
actually, you're right.
Happen.
There are some twists.
Oh, so many twists.
It's like, since when do we get really big twists in a 3D Mario?
Super Mario.
See, what
Maybe Sunshine. Maybe
I had mentioned in my review that I had to like pick up the box a couple times and stare at it and be like, "What game am I playing? Is this a Mario game?" And like put it down. It's like this is wow. This is so inventive for the Mario formula. It was amazing. And part of that invention has to do with Mario's controls. Like,
oh yes,
the ability that they were able to just like take all of Mario's combined jumps, throw it into one game, and then add on top of that is amazing.
Amazing.
Like,
yeah.
you got the spin jump from Sunshine, you got long jump from 64, you got the ground pound jump from the Galaxy games and the Mario 3D World and 3D Lands and stuff. It's brilliant.
And you basically have a spin from the Galaxy games, which I really liked. I mean,
Yeah, basically,
it's not the same, but yeah, it has some of the same purpose. Like, that's one of it's your attack. It's it gives you a little bit of stopping momentum in the air and an extra
That's a
boost.
good point, Dave, because when I do play with the two Joy-Con controls, which is mostly how I play when I'm playing in docked mode. There is that Mario Galaxy instinct of doing the flip with I guess it's a flip or whatever. The flick. Flick.
Yeah, the flick.
With the Joy-Con. So I agree, and like Skylar said, it just adds on everything. It takes everything that Mario's done before and makes it better.
That long jump to cap throw to dive to jump to dive again is amazing.
Yeah, it's a fantastic combo.
It took me a little bit to get it down, but once you get it down, you're like, man, this feels good.
I'm gonna use it all the time.
I use it all the time. So good.
Yeah. One thing that I like about gameplay or how the game works is with the story, like you get the little video intro and then the game just boom throws you right in.
Yep.
You find Cappy right off the bat and you have all of the abilities at your disposal, like as soon as you start playing. And that was so key to me. Like, I do really like games like Banjo-Kazooie where you unlock abilities as you go. It helps ease you into the world a little bit. But with a game like Mario where, you know, we've all played Mario 64, or at least the three of us, you know, we've all played Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, both Galaxy games. We know how to control Mario. And there are just a few little new quirks and new things to figure out. But, like, having the ability to just do all of this at once really like helped solidify the power of the game's controls. Like, if you want to jump over there, you probably can. Like, if you try hard enough, like if you think you can make it, try it. And if you don't make it, there's another way to get there. And just the way that it throws you right in, gives you all those abilities and lets you do this amount of freedom is just so welcome and so good.
Yeah. Speaking of abilities, the capture ability is great. Like, it's basically like Banjo-Kazooie's like transformation mechanic, but on the go. And you can kind of just capture them as you go instead of having to go back to Mumbo every time or whatever. Which is it's a lot of fun to do that. And then every character feels, everything you can control feels exactly how it should control. Like everything. I can't think of a single instance where they just don't control like they should.
Agreed.
Yeah, I can't either. It's all so fluid, so fun. And it just takes like a second after you throw your cap for you to capture it and then just begin moving around and stuff. And you can use some of the capture abilities as like extra jumping and such, like to get to a higher ledge. And it's just, you can be so creative with this game. And that's one of the reasons I love it so much.
I broke so many jumps that way. It was great. It was so much fun. Another one, the tank mechanic is amazing.
Yeah.
I just say, I have never played a game where the tank moved so smoothly. I have never played a game that, even games that are entirely based around tank gameplay, have experienced a tank so perfectly finessed. It was.
So it's you think it's better than Wii Tanks or whatever the Tanks game was on Wii Play?
Absolutely. It's so good.
I disagree strongly with that. No.
I counter your disagreement.
I throw an objection.
I have. That's not how it works. I'm just kidding.
You activate my trap card. No, so sorry. No, I'm just kidding. Like that part of the gameplay is phenomenal, and I can't think of a bad part of it. And all the captures in general. I mean, I really can't think of any that I strongly disliked. They were all fun and creative in their own way. Who knew you could have a shooter game outside or a shooter type of gameplay in a Mario game outside of maybe Sunshine. And so I don't know, like the ideas they bring to the table here, especially through the capture mechanic, is phenomenal.
I think that a lot of this gameplay stuff really feeds into this whole idea that Nintendo's been going for the last few years, where the younger guys are having a lot more say in the development of these games. I mean, the game was directed by one of the younger members of staff. It was not Miyamoto. Miyamoto has definitely helped and stepped in to help control the IP and whatnot and give his thoughts and opinions. But Nintendo is starting to really let these reins go to these younger guys, and they're bringing all these brand new, fresh ideas to the table, because a lot of them grew up with these games. And so it just like Breath of the Wild, you know, you got all of these cool little mechanics of things that they've wanted to see in the games and how that we've been able to expand upon all of these different ideas. And like Mario Odyssey is just like, I've been telling people this all week. It's like the Mario game that I've wanted since I was like 4 years old. You know, I mean, I got Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine and whatever, but like all of these fun ideas, the way that everything just interacts with everything else, it's just so fun. You know, like I've just been beaming the whole time I've played the game.
So I didn't have a single downtime in the whole game. I feel like, like, I was just constantly going the whole time from one explorative fun thing to the next. I was having a blast. I could not put this game down. Let's go.
Well, yeah, because you 100% completed in 3 days, right?
Yeah, 3 or 4 days, something like that. I don't know, but
So
it was a
That's
blur.
amazing.
It was a blur. I was getting high off too much auto weed, but I mean, it was all blur, man. Like I got 999 moons, got all the costumes. I don't freaking know, man. I don't know.
You don't know how you did it, but you did.
Yeah, some of those moons are pretty tricky.
Yeah.
But they were really fun.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned that they had a different director or something like that, but hasn't Miyamoto been away from the directing part of Mario since like maybe Sunshine or something?
No,
Yeah.
he's played a bigger role than he has now. Now he's really kicked back and just plays advisory roles now.
Okay.
He's not a producer.
Okay. I feel like the Koizumi has been heading these Mario games for a while, hasn't he? I wrong?
Maybe.
Not that I know of.
I mean, he has been here for quite a while.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I guess what I mean to say is like maybe not exactly the director, but a lot of the development staff, perhaps. Like I can just I don't know. I don't know where I was going with
Koizumi's
that,
been around since like Mario 64 at least.
Oh yeah, well like Koizumi's been around for forever, but I mean he hasn't like been the absolute head of a project in a while.
Right.
Yeah, he directed Galaxy.
Yeah, that's
Never
what
mind.
I thought.
He directed the first Galaxy game.
But
Anyway.
I guess, but I do see what you're saying though, David. About there is still younger blood in there, but at the same time, the heads have been around for a while. I don't think it's completely fresh blood as maybe we all think.
Yeah, that's fair.
But maybe they're just up and coming. I mean, everyone's got to start somewhere. I imagine Koizumi was in N64 time. Maybe he was just working on swim mechanics in this Mario 64. I don't know.
He was a designer mainly. So
he was a designer?
Like he's a CG designer.
Yeah, I've pulled up his Wikipedia page because I feel like I've been lying to everybody. But he was the assistant director and 3D animator for Mario 64. He also directed Sunshine. So I don't know what I was getting on about the directing staff, but I don't know. I feel like he went back to some of these ideas that happened with Sunshine and 64, which he's talked about. So
there's definitely been a return to what has made Mario a success in the past, what has made Zelda as a success in the past, and kind of reinventing that. I would argue that Mario has been more of a culmination of ideas and then adding upon it, whereas Breath of the Wild may have taken some previous ideas, maybe from like the very first game, but it flipped everything around by adding a lot of new things. So you kind of have like, there may be more ways of doing it, but these are the two ways that Nintendo has decided to go about reimagining their IPs here, you know?
Yeah.
yes.
So,
I
and
agree.
it's really interesting.
What I really enjoyed with Odyssey though is that they introduced a whole slew of new enemies and things. Just like a whole bunch of and you can capture them and everything. That hasn't been done for a while in a Mario game.
Right.
And that feels fantastic. I'm glad they're finally, adding some new characters or some new enemies instead of like, oh, it's a Gamba again. Yay. Oh, hey, look, it's a Koopa, but he's not doing anything cool. The Koopas in this game have hats.
Yeah, they do.
Do you even fight Koopas except for in the 2D sections?
I don't. No, you don't actually.
Nope. You only race against them or do the walk tracing thing in that first world.
Yeah.
Or second world.
Like,
so
nice strike.
I hope that's not spoiler on my part. My bad.
No, I think that's okay. It's one of a million moons, and it's not really a story spoiler. It's just like, yeah.
Well, if you were really hoping
race
to fight Koopa Troopas,
yeah, you don't.
Anyway.
Unless you count like the hammer or like the bros, the fire. Bros
I guess so.
Yeah,
they're technically Kappas.
they're more elite Kappas.
So before we move on to, I think there's still more gameplay you want to talk about, but you mentioned the tutorial part, and I did. There's something I just want to mention that when I first got into the game, when I first would put in the first kingdom, it took me a little bit to get a hold of the controls. And I think I tend to have a issue with this with most every game I get, is like trying to figure out how everything moves, how everything works. And maybe everyone's like this, but for some reason it took me a little bit to get a feel for the camera, get a feel for how Mario jumps. And it works, but it took me until I got to a certain point in that first kingdom, which is not very long, but when I got to that point and continued on to the next, that's when I really felt like, okay, I think I have a grasp of this. And that's why that first kingdom is so great, because it's not necessarily a step by step, oh, jump here, press A to jump. It's more of like explore the surroundings, try out these new moves we have, and just see for yourself how the controls work.
Yeah.
What do you beat? Capture your first thing. So great.
Yeah.
That was pretty great.
Right. Going back to the camera, it took me until like maybe the second or third kingdom to open up the menu and go to options. And there I found one of the best options in the game, and that was camera sensitivity. Like, for some reason, the default camera is the slowest possible setting that you can have it on. And I'm like, I can't do that. So I adjusted it to medium, which ended up being just about the sweet spot for me. I like to have a camera that's snappy because I'm so used to cameras that let me move quickly if I use the entirety of the stick over a direction, and then I can do fine precision stuff with just a little bit of the camera. That might be from my experience with Splatoon 2 for the last few months, but having the camera sensitivity increased definitely helped me control Mario a lot better.
Interesting.
And when I figured out that the L button centers the camera behind Mario's back, that helped a lot too.
Revelatory.
Yeah. I mean, I can't believe it took me like 2 kingdoms to figure out those 2 tricks, but it definitely made things easier.
That's interesting. You mentioned the camera. I mean, I did play around with some of the options. I mean, I didn't change anything, but yeah, like maybe I should have tried that. At the same time, now that I play it now, it's totally fine. I think it's because I gotten used to it. I guess my thing is I try to, unless it's just unbearable, I try to do what the developer has set as the default, because it seems like this is how they want to they would like the player to experience. Not downing anybody who tries it their own way, because for example, there's people who would rather just not have motion controls, or there's people who, like you, David, who'd rather have the camera a different way, and that's fine. I guess I just try to, when I get it, it's just my weird mindset. It's like, well, this is how they have it. I'm gonna be stubborn and try to do it like they had it, and I guess it's kind of a prideful thing.
No, it's totally understandable. I usually trust Nintendo on these types of things, but when I went into options, I noticed that it said slowest on camera. Like, it's like normal, slower, and faster, or something like that. And so I'm like, well, why is it on default set to slower when normal seems like what the normal default should be? So unless I accidentally changed it somehow, which I doubt, because I hadn't even opened the menu up until that point, but
yeah, that'd be weird.
Having it on normal definitely fixed things for me anyway.
Well, maybe I'll give it a try and see if it's even better. That may be.
That might also be just because I used the Pro Controller the entire time. I played it with Joy-Cons, maybe a total of 45 minutes.
I didn't
like the entire time I've played it.
I don't think I used the Pro Controller once. I think I just kind of told myself, because of the motion controls that I knew were in the game, I was like, I'm gonna try this out with the Joy-Con. So I guess that kind of segues into motion controls. What did you guys think?
I just prefer the feel of the Pro Controller. I still had motion controls on. But I like I think the Pro Controller just fits my hands better.
I agree with Skylar on that. I like the Joy-Cons. I think the motion controls are fine. It's definitely a lot harder to get some of the specific Cappy moves out with the Pro Controller. Like, the only way that I figured out how to consistently get the spin attack of Cappy spinning around Mario was to, like, twist the controller a little bit instead of, like, throwing it to the side. I mean, of course, you can just spin around in place with a control stick and then throw Cappy to get the same attack, but I don't know. I think the motion controls could have been adjusted on the Pro Controller, and maybe they could have remapped some of the motion moves to some of the buttons on the Pro Controller. But with the time that I did spend on the Joy-Cons, they felt totally fine, totally natural. Just like I was playing Sunshine, like a little flick of the wrist to do a spin attack or, throw Cappy.
Yeah.
So I think they're fine.
Yeah, I thought the controls were great. I didn't have to use them a whole lot, though. They were very circumstantial. And when you needed to use them, you could use them.
Yeah, like when you're climbing up something. Like, yes, I want to climb up faster, please.
Yes, I will shake my controls. Yes. Precisely.
Yeah, I didn't really ever use the motion controls anyway. I mean, it's more button pressing. And actually, after starting on Monday, I ended up playing it more in handheld mode. So I just kind of didn't do the motion controls. And I've heard some people complain like, oh, when you have it in handheld mode that, you're going to be shaking your system around. It's like, well, no, you don't really need the motion controls. You just press Y and you'll be okay. And I mean, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. Maybe we just need a second opinion on this, but I feel like the motion controls aren't that bad. But again, I guess I just come from a different set of thinking. But go ahead, sorry.
Well, the difference between these motion controls and let's say something like ARMS is they're not required for everything. You don't need them. They're there. You don't have to do them though. And there are other ways to do the motion control stuff without doing the motions.
Yeah,
right.
Like sometimes I watch a playthrough or like some YouTube video review, and they're like constantly flicking Cappy straight up into the air to get him to land on certain things up above them. And I'm like, I just jump and throw Cappy. Like, I don't need to worry about throwing him straight up. I don't know. I find it more reliable to just jump and throw. I don't know.
Yeah,
and
me too.
I very rarely used any of those like super specific attacks. It would have been nice to have them mapped for sure, since, basically the A button does the same thing as the B button and the X button does the same thing as the Y button. But again, Mario's controls are generally about simplicity. I mean, if you think back to the Mario Galaxy games, like all you really use is the A button and shake the Wii remote most of the time. There are some exceptions, but Mario's about simplicity of controls, and so adding those special moves with the motion controls, it's pretty natural, but not necessary.
Right. I think maybe it was a few months ago actually, we mentioned how Nintendo is really moving forward with these motion controls and how they've kind of just been adding them seamlessly into games such as Zelda, Splatoon 2, and ARMS. And now we have Odyssey here that, in my mind, it uses it pretty seamlessly. It's not like it doesn't take away from the experience. It's not forced. It doesn't feel like a gimmick in my mind. And it feels really nice, actually. It's nice to sometimes be able to flick the the Joy-Con, to hit out Cappy, but you don't have to. And I don't know. It just kind of it just seems like Nintendo is still not experimenting, but showing that yes, motion controls do have a place in video games. Just opening different possibilities, but you don't have to do them. I keep saying that, so I'll stop saying it.
Right? They're not forced down your throat like some people tend to believe with Nintendo and motion controls. Like, stop shoving these down my throat. I don't want to use them. I mean, yes, it's okay to feel that way, and I understand motion controls are not for everybody, period. But the way I see it, it's not a necessary thing, and they're just there to kind of use if you want to. So they're not requiring them. I mean, I think some of the moons might require a little bit more of the motion controls than most of the others, but I haven't really come across any big issues like that.
There's only one or two I can think of that absolutely require them.
Oh, okay.
So
I'll keep that in mind then. So Oh, I did want to say, I really liked those little miniature tutorial videos on how to like move the control stick or what buttons to push or like how Mario jumps or something. I thought that was like a nice little touch for the first few areas of the game. Like they didn't seem like they were obnoxious, you know. At first I thought, oh man, I don't want them showing me this every time I get a new move or whatever, or I figure something out. And they didn't, you know, like the first time you capture something new, yes, it tells you, oh, the Y button does this and the B button does this. And then you're just left to do your own thing. But they never really had all of those displays throughout the entire game. So
they did it in the best way possible by letting you play the game while having it on the screen by showing it to you. Whereas a lot of games, they stop you, give you some text, and be like, you can't move on until you do this 5 times. You know, that kind of thing.
I was thinking exact same thing.
Like the very beginning of Super Mario Sunshine, where it's a really long tutorial.
Yes, that's probably what prohibits me from playing Sunshine the most.
The first like 20 minutes of the game.
It's just like how it's hard. Like the other day, I was like, I want to play Twilight Princess again. Oh no. The intro.
I knew you were going to bring that up.
I have to remember to make a secondary backup save file after the intro.
I mean, it's fine like the first time. It's fine like the first time. But like,
I agree. It's not bad. It's just, it's so long before you like start
playing
doing
the game.
Some other things. Yeah. Like going into a dungeon or
okay. So
we want
okay. Length of tutorials bits aside, my thing is that when you have it like in mid game, for example, in a RPG or I don't know, there's been some games. I for some reason I'm thinking a Paper Mario game or something. I can't quite remember.
You're thinking Mario and Luigi Dream Team, where it's constant tutorial fest.
Yeah. Like you get a new ability, and then it will take you to this tutorial screen, and be sure to press A here, and then you have to press A, and it kind of like holds your hand going through it, and then it takes you back into the game, and that's the kind of thing where when it first came out or when first experienced is fine, but I think we've come to the point where we all kind of understand Mario and how it works, and these controls are simple and easy enough to use. Just like how Super Mario 64 was, that just having a simple text on the bottom that goes away real quick once you start actually doing the controls, it's great. Mm-hmm. It's simple. It just puts you right into the game, and so I really appreciate the game for doing that a lot.
Yeah, I think we're improving on that as far as Nintendo's going. Like they're not doing the pull you aside tutorials as often.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I don't know if I said this in like our Breath of the Wild stuff, but like Nintendo's tutorial levels are some of the best designed now, especially for Breath of the Wild, and I think Super Mario Odyssey as well. They give you tons of freedom to do things, but they don't make it too hard all at once. You know, like there's not a ton of text thrown into your face saying, this is how you cook a fish or whatever in Breath of the Wild. And in Mario Odyssey, it's not like, hey, Mario, I'm going to stop you right here so you know that when you push the A button 3 times in sequence, you know exactly how to do a triple jump. No, they like, you can do that on your own, or you get the small little video down in the corner. It's like they're designing these things to make the game way more fluid and way more friendly to people that are joining, for both, you know, old-time veterans of the series and new people. You know, my little brother, who hasn't played a whole lot of Zelda games, played through Breath of the Wild, and he was eased right in because of that introduction. I'm sure that tons of people, out of the like 1.1 million people that bought the game, this was their first Mario game, at least in some cases, and they probably felt the same way, just eased right in. And that shows so much attention to detail and polish and game design that I'm very proud of Nintendo for that. Yeah. And I think that the gameplay in and of itself, maybe is one of the final comments here, is it shows so much polish and attention to detail, like all across the board. There are so many intricate things you can do. There are so many intricate ways to interact with your environment. It's like they paid attention to the core of the game and made the core as good as it could possibly be and built the game around that.
Yes.
And I think that made a huge impact on the game overall.
I think most good games are like that. They have a great core, and then things are added upon it.
I've never experienced a game with better controls. I would say that. And
Yeah.
I
That is
played a
high
lot. I played a lot of games.
Yeah, you have. Nintendo, you hear that? You hear that?
It's like there are a lot
hot
of
praise right
there
there.
are a few games I've given 10s, but I don't think any of them have controlled this well.
Here we go, off the rails. You know it's time to raise ourselves. It's freedom like you never knew. Go back or past. Say the word, I'll be there in a flash. You could say my head, it's up to you. Oh, we can zoom all the way to the moon from this free wide wacky world. Jump with me, grab coins with me, oh yeah. It's time to
Hey everybody, it's your friend David hopping in the middle of the episode like I normally do. I'm just hoping that you're enjoying our Super Mario Odyssey discussion. We had a lot of fun recording this episode as usual, and I'd like to thank you for listening. If you'd like to help support the show, please be sure to check out our Patreon page. I know we talk about it at the beginning and at the end of the episode, but it's a really easy way to help show your support for the show. Just, giving up that one Big Mac or something a month and just sending it our way would greatly be appreciated. We'd definitely appreciate any support that you'd be willing to give. We'd also like to ask you to check out our Facebook page and our Twitter accounts. You can get all of the show updates there, as well as news and opinions and more, which are also found on our website at nintensity.com. I don't really have anything else to talk about during this break, but thank you so much for listening. It really does mean a lot that you're listening and that you're sharing the show. We've been doing this for just over 2 years now, and we really love the support that you've all given us. Anyway, I'll let you get back to the Super Mario Odyssey discussion, and we'll talk next week. Thanks.
spin the wheel, take a chance. Every journey starts a new romance, and it was calling out to you. Turn off the past, find a new addition to the cast. Know that any captain needs a crew. Take it in strategy mode, set aside that.
Let's talk about the feel of the game. How did you guys feel while playing the game? Like, about everything.
But for me, having played Sunshine before 64, it definitely reminded me of both of those, but more of Sunshine in some cases. But obviously, I could see the 64 inspiration there easily. It's quite amazing to go into it and just feel these feelings of discovery and wonderment and excitement that I felt with Galaxy and Sunshine, and even some Zelda games I felt the same way. It's quite remarkable.
Yeah. Like, just playing this game was just one high moment to the next, to the next, to the next. It was so much fun to play. I found myself smiling a whole bunch while playing this game. Particularly, there was one little Easter egg in Volbono in the Luncheon Kingdom. It was amazing. I'll just say that. When I did it, I was like, "Oh my gosh, nostalgia!" And I was like, it felt so good. This whole game was just from one thing to I expected it to be good, but I didn't expect it to be this good. Basically.
Yeah, I totally am on the same page with you guys. Like Skylar, I was also just beaming. Like, certain things that characters say every so often, some interactions, some secret areas and whatnot. I was just like, are you kidding me? They put this in here?
Yep.
It was so good, just beaming. There was one part in particular where I entered a door or something. I won't say where or what. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is one of the best rooms ever. I set my controller down and had to stand up and just take a quick break to just absorb the moment. It was so wonderful.
It's like you don't expect them to put this stuff in the game.
Exactly.
But they did. And it was so great.
Yeah, the surprises in this game are, I don't know, we haven't had that in a long time, and it's pretty amazing.
It's been such a lull with Mario, and then just suddenly to have it pick back up all at once is amazing. It just doesn't. It feels so unreal.
Oh, absolutely.
But
absolutely.
Mario got a little bit stale, and now it's brought it back. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, they went back to the core gameplay and just changed it up, and it made a huge difference. It feels so good.
Me going to the city? Forget about it.
So, it feels so good to play. I mean, even just like playing the demo a little bit before the game out at, a Target or whatever, I was like, yeah, I'm going to love this game. And if you listen to last week's episode, I kept like counting down, the midnight release is in like 45 minutes or whatever. I was so thrilled, and I was not let down at all.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
It was such a good weekend for me. Stranger Things 2 and Mario Odyssey. I was like, this is the stuff. And after all the crazy hard stuff I had to do.
All the GRE.
Anyway, yeah.
Wow. I only had time to play my Odyssey. Gosh dang, what am I doing with my life?
I binged that Odyssey.
I binged Odyssey and Stranger Things. I'm a terrible person. I was like, I'm not doing anything else this weekend. I'm done.
Well, no, you did the GRE.
Right. After the GRE, I mean, like the rest of the weekend, I was like, I'm done. Whatever. I'm not getting anything else
I don't
done,
know why I'm just so slow. I don't know. Or whatever.
You take your time. You have that type of fun.
I guess
it's how you play the games. It's totally fine.
But sometimes I wish like I was at the same pace of other people. But I don't know. It's a hard conundrum I have. But in the end, I always just go slow anyway.
It's a game meant for leisurely joy.
But
you shouldn't.
That's true. But I don't know. I feel like if other people were doing the same thing I was doing and finding other moves, I still feel like they'd be faster. I don't know what it is. It's like, do I just walk slow?
James,
do I process things slow? Whatever. This is not what's James' mind. This is not what that. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have brought that up. But I will say that I agree with you that enjoying this game at your own pace, at your own leisure, is important.
Yes. Yeah. Don't rush yourself, have a good time playing it. It's worth it. It's worth finding those small little details.
Yeah. And the part of those details and that experience is like all the visuals and graphics.
Yeah.
Like you can take your time through this game and just find everything. There's stuff in this game people will miss. People will miss like the detail, the fine thing. One thing that really got me was that Pauline's voice is perfectly synced to the music. Like her mouth moves the way it should.
Yeah, and those animations.
And not only that, but they gave her actions to do that correspond with the lyrics.
Right, with her dances and stuff.
Yeah.
And another cool thing is if you talk to her or interrupt her by throwing your cap or jumping on her, she will stop singing in the music.
Yeah.
Like until she like recenters herself and then she starts singing again. And it's like they didn't have to put that detail in there, but they did, and it's amazing.
Yeah, this game is full of those moments. Like
agreed.
The whole visual scene in this game, there's not another Nintendo game I know of that has that level of visual like perfection in the character faces, character movements, character models, or detail or anything.
I mean, and just Mario himself, all of the crazy things that he does, even during gameplay, you're just like, what?
The costumes are so well designed for Mario. They do not clip through his body, and they have their own physics. All of them. It's
incredible.
The Doctor Cloak didn't clip through him once, but it still breezed through the wind. When you roll, you can see all the tiny threads on the jacket. It's so amazing.
I think we're missing the big star of the show, and I mean, it was what stole my heart. Mario's nose. The physics. I mean, we can talk about Camilla physics or dead or alive physics, but that nose physics. Oh my gosh,
James, you broke Skylar. Wow.
I was going to say Luigi's Mansion physics, but I mean, you went there.
We've gone beyond Luigi's Mansion physics.
This is beyond.
Although those were pretty tremendous as well.
Take that, GameCube.
But no, I mean,
so many polygons.
I don't know why they added the nose drop, but it honestly gives even more personality to Mario, who, I remember when Mario and Rabbids came out, some people were complaining that Mario's just so kind of bland compared to Luigi and the Rabbids, and how like crazy and alive they all feel, where Mario just kind of vanilla. Well, I feel like this kind of gives him more, a little more personality and charisma to him. So I don't know, just little things.
Yeah, like even just the little detail of when Cappy first lands on Mario's head at the very beginning of the game, Mario's like, "Oh no!" Like it's like disappointed. Yeah, come on.
So you're not my hat. Get off my head.
I've got a reputation.
Oh, it's so wonderful. Yeah, the visuals are fantastic. I mean, you know, you can have all of these specification videos where they're like, "Oh, it's only 920p. And it alternates and stuff," and it's like
So silly.
Yeah, but look at it. Like, it's beautiful. The techniques that they do to make it so fluid, and it's like a constant 60 frames per second. There's only like one area where I could see like some noticeable dip, and it probably only went down to like 55 frames per second or something, you know, just like a little hiccup. But it's beautiful. The game runs super well. It's a joy in handheld and on the TV. It's wonderful. Looks so good. But what also is good about the game is the music.
Oh, before you go into the music, so
okay.
Before I don't know how I was transitioning to that. Whoops. So anyway, talk about the kingdoms. I'm not going to mention the kingdom names or how many there are, but most of them feel a lot like how 64 kingdoms worked. You know, just their own separate identities, but they're all like colorful colorful to call. Like they're all have their own unique aesthetic, and it just I don't know. It just makes it that much better to explore. You know, it feels like they feel like they could be their own separate game, to be honest. But they're all like packed into one and just one experience.
Yeah, not only that, but they introduced a slew of new races as well.
Yeah.
Not just enemies, but races of Mushroom Kingdom people, which is... Or not Mushroom Kingdom, I guess they're from other kingdoms, but the world.
Earth? I don't know. The world? Whatever.
Citizens of the Earth.
Citizens of Earth, ERF. Yes. They're all there, and they all kind of like, they all just jump around from world to world. It's cool, and you know exactly where they're all from.
Yeah.
You know, I'm really
color
excited.
Schemes are great.
Yeah, I'm really excited to hear what your guys' like favorite kingdoms and things are, but we'll probably just save that for our spoiler cast because we want to make sure people get the experience fresh for themselves.
Yeah, we're gonna have to save that for the spoiler cast.
Yeah,
but oh man,
especially because
so
my
much I want to talk about.
Late game. Yeah, it's good stuff. But visuals aside, let's jump into some of the music. Like Skylar, our resident composer, probably has a few thoughts on music.
This game made me want to quit.
No,
I was listening to the game. I was like, "This is so good! Wow, it's so good!" I quit.
I can't write music.
I can't write music this good. I just give up now. But oh man,
yes,
obviously not because I'm still in school. But I mean, it's just fantastic. It's like the years of mastery these composers have thrown into this game, and it's phenomenal. The themes that are given, the 8-bit versions of those themes are great.
Oh yeah,
like, Cascade Kingdom was like you could slap that straight on Wind Waker and it would fit perfectly. They were like adventure, you know. It's like it's that good. It's so. It captures every move, every mood you want perfectly.
Yeah. Oh, the transitions into the kingdoms with the music are great. It is so fun to listen to this music. Oh,
well, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was done. Go for
it. When they were showing the game off at E3, there were moments like in... so E3, you people have seen E3 trailers, so we can just mention New Donk City, right? So, okay, I mentioned the city. Spoiler alert. Whoa. Okay, but for real, when you first get to New Donk City, there isn't any music.
Yeah.
Or, you know, and then you walk closer and it starts to become like a little louder, and then you get into the city and boom, there it is. It's like that for most of the levels, aside from the one that Skylar mentioned, Cascade Kingdom, when it pretty much puts you in and then
adventure!
Bam. Adventure! But there are these moments of silent silence that they use amazingly, and it just shows how important that yes, music is important, but silence is also just as important at times because it can create different moods. Tool. Yeah, and it kind of builds on what's about to happen. I mean, there's one kingdom where you start off and it's quiet, and you're like, what is this? What even is this area? Just kind of mixture of these two things that mesh together, and it's like I don't feel like this should work. And then you get through this hole in the wall, and then it opens up into the main area. Yeah, and you're like, wow. So that's how it all works. And I fell in love with that kingdom.
Wooded Kingdom was freaking chill.
So chill. Like, oh gosh. That
surf
music.
These poison waves with me.
You mean you talk about auto weed? I mean, that's the kind of music I listen to if I was smoking auto weed.
Dude, I've been listening to the soundtrack all week. This and Fire Emblem Warriors actually off. But good stuff. Really good stuff.
And the 8-bit version of Wounded Kingdom? Oh my word.
Ripped right out of a NES game.
It's like, wow. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. I think this music is as iconic as Mario music from Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. There's so many good themes in here that I find myself humming every so often. Good stuff. And on the same note of sound direction, I love the jingles in the game. Like when you solve a little puzzle, the do or whatever sound. I mean, that was definitely Donkey Kong, but just like some of these little jingles and stuff, you're just like, yeah, I know that's from the main theme song, but I just love it. And I want it to be like my ringtone for text and stuff. It's just so good.
It's like, ba-do-do-do-be-do.
So good.
Super catchy game. Awesome. Although me and my brother every time we got at Moon at the end, we just still did the fart noise. It's like, dude,
it's a rite of passage.
Yep. It's just so funny.
It just happens.
Mason also did taste this cartridge as well. It still tastes like gross. It still tastes like gross. It still tastes like gross. You gotta be chicken enough just to try it.
On that note, we should probably move to our reviews. We've been talking about this game for a long time.
This beautiful
like our review scores.
I just want to keep talking about it, but I guess
we have a whole other episode for next week.
Yeah, you're right. We kind of exhausted all the things that we can say without getting
spoiling
it. This is a game that you can't or shouldn't look at all the content that's in there before playing it. Some of the magic that is in the game is there when you discover it fresh. If you were to have these things spoiled for you, and I'm not talking about the trailers. The trailers, I mean, to each to their own. Like that's whatever. But like going and watching someone play through the whole thing or seeing what the post game content is, that's what I'm talking about, where you just kind of ruin the whole joy and discovery of it, and that's what makes this so special. So highly recommend you play it before you listen to anything with spoilers.
I was super proud of YouTube for a long time, and then I checked it today.
Oh no, Skylar, you would have been upset like on Thursday before the game came out. Oh gosh.
I shut down all social media for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and half of Monday. Like I turned off Discord, turned off YouTube, turned off everything. I was like, I'm gonna experience this game fresh, and I'm gonna give it a score fitting of my sole opinion without influence.
That's a good idea.
No, it was a great idea. I mean, even on Thursday, you had like thumbnails of all the bosses from Super Mario Odyssey. It's like, delete, hide my history. But you even start to see now that it's been a week. Now you're seeing videos of my top favorite this, my top favorite that, and did you know this trick, or here's what happens when you do this, and that's great. And these people need to provide that kind of content. But I don't know, like it's kind of a shame that it's already only been a week and people can be exposed to the game if they don't want to. So I mean, yeah, I guess you guys got to avoid that kind of stuff, but you know, it's kind of sad. But at the same time, it just is what it is.
This game is a true nostalgia trip. It made me feel like a child again. And I know I said that about Breath of the Wild, but it's so good. Like, I played Mario before I played Zelda, and this game just, it brought out so many memories and so many feelings that I haven't had in a long time. It's a nostalgia trip, and I love every minute of the game. I give it a 10 out of 10. Absolutely.
Woohoo!
Hooray! You know how I mentioned that it reminded me of some of Sunshine and 64 and everything, but I don't know if I could say that it made me feel like a kid again. I don't know why. Maybe it's because my feelings are finical, and you should make fun of them. I mean, don't make fun of them. But to me, it was just so, I guess, for lack of a better word, amazing that I haven't experienced anything like this before. It's so odd because it takes like all the things that I love about a game, like discovery and adventure, and puts them in all these different kingdoms and areas to explore. So for me, like the whole feel and everything I've already talked about warrants that this game receive a 10 out of 10. And I think it may be the best game of 2017.
It's high praise.
It is high praise, and it has been recently released. So I guess I'm not ready to give it that title quite yet, but it definitely could be Breath of the Wild. So we'll see.
I mean, I'd personally be fine with either of them winning Game of the Year because, still Nintendo and everything. But for me, I kind of knew this game was going to be my favorite game, but was it going to be the best game of the year? Was what I was asking. And I kept asking that question all the way until after Volbono, and now I know. Super Mario Galaxy. I said Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild earlier this year was the best game ever made, and it was. But I think Nintendo has outdone themselves with Super Mario Odyssey. I think Super Mario Odyssey is the best game ever made, and it absolutely deserves a 10 out of 10. It's made me rethink how I have to rate games now, but I think it's an amazing game, and everybody should play this game. Even if you don't like 3D platformers, there is something in this game you will love.
Yeah, it's true.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely agree. So, yeah, it is such a good game. Like, I went into it with like hardly any expectations because I was like, well, it's going to be a Mario game. It's going to be good. And, it just exceeded everything that I thought possible. It's a fantastic game. I'm so glad Nintendo made it. So glad it came out. And you heard it here first, folks. That is 3 perfect 10s from us. That's better than some, Japanese magazine gave it.
I cursed their names.
They gave it 3 10s and a 9. So if Jordan gives it a 9, then we're all. Which I don't know. I don't think he will, but we'll see. He may.
See, that it's funny too because they also rated Sonic Forces higher than Sonic Mania. We'll get to that.
Oh gosh,
we'll talk about that.
See, I can't trust the Japanese media anymore.
After,
I'm just kidding. But we'll see. But yeah, Super Mario Odyssey is great. It is something to be said when a game you think is going to be amazing and then somehow exceeds your expectations.
Yeah, that is
absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's our spoiler-free Super Mario Odyssey review. Thanks for listening to that. To wrap up the episode, let's talk about some of the stuff that we've been playing other than Mario Odyssey. I don't have anything. I've only been playing Odyssey this week. I don't know. Skylar, I think you've...
That's the same with me.
Go ahead, James.
Yeah, I haven't been playing anything other than Odyssey. Just trying to beat the game in time for this podcast. I did it.
He did it.
Yay. First, and Skylar did it so fast.
I smoked all the auto weed in the whole world. And then I got really high and decided to invite some friends over and because I wanted to review Jackbox Party Pack 4, which was provided to us by Jackbox Games for the purpose of review. Jackbox Party Pack 4 is a lot of fun. I think only like one of the games out of 5 is a dud. but
which is that's good. Yeah.
yeah, I think I gave it an 83. I think. Or
Yeah, you gave it an 8.3.
8.3, yeah. It's fun game. The first couple ones are a lot of fun. The first one's basically like two truths and a lie, kind of. Where you make up all these lies and you try to get other people to vote on your lies and stuff. It's pretty fun. Pretty similar to Use Your Words, from what I can see.
Okay.
And then the second one was this is really fun, like Survive the Internet, where you post comments based on what your friends say, and then you earn points based on people voting. It's really funny. They open up the game with Keyboard Cat, of course, because what else describes the internet better than Keyboard Cat?
Yeah.
You know, I was picking Skylar's brain on this one during the review, and I don't know. I just really wanted to play it. Like, it was like, man, I want a big group of friends so I can play this.
It's hard to describe unless you do play it, though. Like, most of these games are like, well, what do you mean? How do you play this? You're just gonna have to play it. Like, yeah, everybody uses their phone, they get a secret question or whatever, and then they answer the prompt. And then everybody makes stuff based off of that prompt. They put it to a caption, put it to a hashtag, that kind of thing. Then they had Monster Seeking Monster, which is like this hilarious dating sim game, but like but you use like real people, and they all have monster personas.
That's so strange.
With abilities, and you have like a certain goal that you want to end up with this other monster on that night or whatever. And it would be a lot more fun with way more people. I'm just saying than just 4. It would be funny in a big group, and if none of those people were actually dating. So that's the catch, because then you can start hitting on someone else's girlfriend or whatever. It's just kind of
punch in the face, and then you join a fight club.
Then you get literal punched, and then it turns into something even better, which is Fight Club. No. Then you have bracketeering, which is pretty bad. You just kind of vote on people's.
It sounds so stupid.
It's really dumb. Don't play bracketeering. It's not that fun.
Sorry. But
yeah, sorry, Jackbox Games. That one's not fun. Don't do that again. Unless you can somehow think of a way to make it more fun. But I highly doubt it. And then the last one was this doodle one, where you pretty much just add a bunch of drawings to each other's drawings. Like, you add on stuff to each other's works.
That sounds like fun.
I played that in church all the time with my little sister. Let me tell you, it was a good time. We passed many an hour just drawing like weird noses on people's faces and like mustaches above, unibrows and stuff. It was fun.
Yeah.
I drew a picture of a guy eating himself because he thought he was delicious and he was a potato. So
if I was a potato, I'd probably eat myself.
He started biting. He's like, "Oh no, I'm delicious." It was pretty good. So yeah, Jackbox Party Game, 83 or 8.3 out of 10. Really good game. I'd say get it if you have a big group of friends. It's a lot of fun. You just need a lot of friends, and they all have to have cell phones. So
yeah.
Oh, dang
or
it.
you have to provide them with something. So.
Oh yeah, laptop, cell phone, something that accesses
anything
a
with
browser.
internet. Yeah. Well, cool. Thanks for reviewing that. Sounds like a lot of fun. Sounds a lot like Use Your Words. So
yeah,
it's probably something that I'd like. Anyway, so I guess that does it for this week. I think that'll do it for us. Before we end the episode, we'd just like to say thanks for joining us for this wonderful episode of Super Mario Odyssey. Your support means a ton.
Go get super high. Go buy this game.
High up in the sky.
The only barrier of entry is your mind, man.
It's your mind.
It's just your mind, dude.
We also mentioned how the music is phenomenal in this game. Well, Skylar, his music on SoundCloud is also phenomenal. You should give it a look. Check it out, and be sure to listen to some of his original music, because he has a lot of good stuff. The end.
Yeah. He does. And I'd like to shout out to our patrons, Chris, Chase, and our newest one, Ratmvp. Thanks so much for your support.
Ratmvp.
Yeah, Ratmvp. Our newest one. If you want to join them, go to patreon.com/Nintensity. And remember, the episodes are going up as a reward for those that support us. And we got some fun behind the scenes stuff on like how the editing looks after it's done, and it's pretty fun. We're working on some more stuff to add in the future.
And I'd like to invite you to join our Discord community. We're trying to set up a fun place for people to visit and hang out. Head to nintendo.city/discord to join us today.
And thank you so much for tuning into the Virtual Boys podcast this week. Don't forget to subscribe and rate us on iTunes. We'd also remind you to check out our website at nintendcity.com, where you can find news, show notes, and so much more. This week's show notes will be available at nintend.city/EP75. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you later. Or next time. Oh man, I broke it.
Goodbye, you good people. Woohoo!
Bye!